Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to ModGolf Live. I am your host, Colin Weston, and today we're going to have a lot of fun here. We have a Canadian golf celebrity in the broadcasting space here, and that is Mr. Adam Scully, who is the host and producer of Golf Talk Canada, not only on TSN on television, but also on their podcast too. So they're doing all kinds of awesome stuff, covering the PGA Tour. I'm so jealous the places he gets to go, him and his buddies there, the team, the trio. So we're going to dig into that here today. But to start off, as we always do on Monday, first thing I'm going to do is say, hey, thanks for joining us today. This show is live and interactive. I see we already got a couple people that have jumped on and joined us here. And one thing I want to say is, like, in the comments here, just like I've put here on our YouTube channel here, I say, hey, welcome to ModGolf Live. I'm joining you from Vancouver. Rainy today. Shocker that it's raining here today. It doesn't stop us from playing golf, though. I'm still going out later on today to work on my 17 handicap to try to get that down here to another where I was a couple of years ago. So yeah, hey, please introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from. And hey, once we get going here, if you've got some questions for Adam about golf, about, I don't know, life, maybe I don't know, ask him what the meaning of life is. Maybe he has the answer. I don't know. But maybe we'll find out today. You just don't know. You just don't know. Okay, so as we get started here, one thing that I normally do is called my Monday morning musings, and yeah, always got stuff to muse about here today. But I was even thinking, is like, what do I have to muse about here today? And the one thing I did want to mention, and this is about perfection, or that elusive thing that doesn't really exist. It's kind of like a unicorn. We're always striving for perfection. And I know with my golf game, as I mentioned, with me kind of sliding back in the direction I don't want to go, as I was warned many years ago when I stumbled into the golf industry by a PGA teaching professional. He just kind of smiled at me and said, you know what? Now that you're in the golf industry, your golf game is going to suffer. You're going to play less golf. I'm like, no, I'm going to play all this free golf. It's going to be amazing. I know Adam's smirking off camera there because I know what those guys do, and I'm so jealous. They do play a lot of golf and see some amazing places that we're going to talk about today. But this whole idea around perfection is something that is elusive, and we're so hard on ourselves here with that, whether it's in life or on the golf course. An example this weekend, like I said, myself as a 17 handicap playing in Vancouver with my weekend men's group. It was raining. I really didn't want to play. It's like, I went out anyway. And Fred 9 shot 47. Was like, here we go. Not making any putts, and yeah, not really hitting the ball that well. And I don't know what happened. I ended up in the last 10 holes, I was +2. Ended up shooting an 82, which is like net 6. -6 for me, and a couple of chip ins, a couple of 60-foot bomb putts that went in. You know what? And I just had a great time. And that is shot 35 on the back 9. It's like, that's never happened. So you just never know. So don't strive for perfection. You know, just do the best that you can. And the greatest thing is just that act of doing. Getting out of bed, getting off the sofa, and just getting out there sometimes is the hardest thing. So there you go. There's my Monday morning musings for the day. One thing I did want to mention is we do have our good friends at Golf Genius Software, and they've been supporting the ModGolf podcast for the last 5 years. And hey, if you're in the golf industry and maybe you know Golf Genius, maybe you don't, but hey, they have been friends of the show here for a long, long time. So we want to give them a quick shout out. So let you know, Golf Genius powers tournament management over 10,000 private clubs, public courses, resorts, golf associations, and tours in over 60 countries now. So if you're a golf professional or course operator who wants to save time, deliver exceptional golf experiences, and generate more revenue, check them out online at golfgenius.com. There we go with that. So with no further ado, here we go. Let's get this show rolling here. Gonna get him on here. And there he is, Mr. Adam Scully. Adam, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Long time coming. Pumped to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, you and I have been back and forth trying to put this together. I know during this is kind of the slower part of the golf season for you, but I know you guys pump out like you're on almost every single week. You're on 50 weeks a year, I saw. Is that correct?
It never ends, my friend. Yeah, we actually just got off the air. We have one more live radio show next week, which is our annual Festivus special. So one of our favorites for sure. airing of the grievances, feats of strength, lots of special guests joining us. And then we have a year in review television special that we're taping a little later in December that will air throughout the holiday season on TSN. But really, the golf season, I guess it really quiets down now because the LPGA and PGA Tour's schedules are official schedules are now wrapped up. But we have still some silly season events, if you will. The Hero World Challenge. Will Tiger be back? Who knows? We know we had another back surgery. The PNC Parent-Child Championship, the tournament where PGA and LPGA players partner together. The Grant Thornton, that's also in December. But then the Century Tournament of Champions starts on January 2nd. So it's up and going. So golf season, well, it never really ends.
It's full on. It's full on. Well, you know what? It keeps you employed. So it's not a bad thing, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
It's not a bad thing. So, hey, even though it's Golf Talk Canada, I know you guys have a global reach here, and you've got fans from all over the world here. So people that are not familiar with Golf Talk Canada, why don't you give us the pitch, give us the overview of what you do and why you do it?
Yeah, totally. So we're the only nationally syndicated golf talk show in Canada, and basically we recap all the latest and the greatest in the world of golf on a weekly basis. Now, we obviously stick to big Canadian stories, say like we just saw this past weekend, Brooke Henderson finishing T8 at the CME Group Tour Championship, the LPGA's final event. Mackenzie Hughes, 2 shots off the lead, finishing T5 at the RSM. So if a Canadian is in the mix, you're going to hear about it from us. We often get those Canadians on our show to interview them, but we are a full golf show. So we recap everything that's happened, from major championships to LIV Golf to merger news that still hasn't happened yet, to all the latest in equipment, in apparel. Golf travel has become a huge avenue for us too, as we were emailing back and forth. Last week we aired our Irish travel special, one of my favorite places in the world to go to. So we talk about all the latest and the greatest in all facets of golf every week on our show.
And I love the Irish golf special there. I did record that. I'm going to be watching it over and over because I did mention to you, we were back and forth this texting each other, and did mention I'm going to have the opportunity in May for the first time to go to Ireland. And I'm going to be speaking at a golf technology business conference there in Belfast, and going to be playing a couple of rounds there. So, and I'm going to be up north, is where you covered on that particular episode. So I know a lot of those courses probably won't have the chance to get on, but I was looking there as like, yeah, I think I'm going to stick around for an extra week. That looks pretty darn good.
I think you should, yeah, whatever. If you can cancel your plans the week after, have the gear, have the rain suit, and you'll experience golf like you've never experienced golf before. And I do have to say the Guinness is pretty good too.
Love that. Love that. Well, I will definitely take that recommendation, you up on that one, definitely. Well, I do play golf here in Vancouver all through the winter. Of course, we don't have the rain, but I play in, 4 degrees for our American friends, like around 38, 40 degrees here and in rain. So I think I'll be able to handle that. I think I will. Okay. Hey, so I want to focus on kind of the history or the backstory of Golf Talk Canada here. So our viewers who aren't really familiar with the show, you did kind of give an overview there, but I want to hear kind of that origin story. How did it come into creation, and how long has it been on, and where did it start? So tell us about that. It's like, where did the idea come from? The inspiration, and was it you and the guys that launched the show, or how has it changed over the last couple of years?
It's a great question. Yeah, no, it's a great question. So Mark Zecchino owns the show. He started the show. So
he does. Okay.
Yeah, so he had has a marketing background, and I might have the years a little off here, but around 2012, 2013, he went to start working for PGA Tour Radio. He's always had a passion for broadcasting, and from there, he wanted to have a golf show here in Canada. He is Canadian. He lives in Scarborough. And basically, it started out as just a radio show. And it was originally going to be Golf Talk Toronto, or Golf Talk Ontario, I think was the name it was going to be. But started talking about all things golf in Canada. And then that expanded to sort of a recap around the world. And for him, I know it started, I think it was 30 minutes or an hour of a Sunday recap show just on radio. And then it's expanded. So then it went to television, where him and Jim Taddy, Canadian legend, were hosting it together. And then Bob Weeks was involved and joined the show. I believe it was the start of 2016, maybe 2015. Now, as for me personally, I've been at TSN in some capacity since October of 2011, when I was still in my second year of school. I was 19 years old when I was first got an internship there. And I worked in the newsroom, behind the scenes, writing highlights. I've played golf all my life. My parents joined the golf club I'm at here in the Toronto area, Bayview Golf and Country Club, the year I was born. So I've always had a passion for golf. I'd like to think, been a fairly decent player. And through that, that passion went to the media side, through to what I do for a living. And so I would start writing some of the highlights you'd see on SportsCenter, that sort of thing.
Right.
One of my memorable first highlight packs I ever did was when David Hearn lost in a playoff to Jordan Spieth in the 2013 John Deere Classic, when no one really knew who Jordan Spieth was. And now Jordan Spieth is who he is, obviously. And so with that, I did some stuff behind the scenes for about 6 months with Golf Talk Canada, working with video editors to do montages, some writing, that sort of thing. And then the opportunity came really out of the blue in August of 2016, when the producer of that show left the company and moved to Ireland with her boyfriend. And so there was a producer opening right then and there, and TSN gave me the opportunity, and I'm forever grateful for it. I remember at the time I felt pretty green. I felt really nervous. I felt it was way over my head. I was 24 at the time and hadn't really produced television before, ever. And so it started out, super slow moving. And then I really helped grow and evolve with the show. So along with TV, I was also a couple months later offered the opportunity to produce the show on radio. And so when I first started on the radio side, it was 90 minutes long, Saturday mornings from 8 to 9:30 a.m. And now things have obviously evolved. Things have changed. So during our peak season, so for us, late January into the end of next September, we'll be on, I believe it's 38 consecutive weeks where we're live on radio Mondays and Wednesdays for 2 hours each, 10 a.m. to noon. So 4 hours of live radio. And then there's still our television show involved with that too. So that first airs on Tuesday evenings, and then airs a couple more times throughout the week too. Now, for me personally too, there was the producing side, but I've always wanted to be a host, on-air personality as well. That's what I grew up really wanting to do, even back when I played hockey way back in the day. And I was a way better hockey player than I ever will be a golfer. I was a goalie back in the day, but that's for another time anyway. But so my big break hosting, funny enough, came through with COVID, because so March of 2020, we know the world shut down due to the pandemic, and Bob Weeks and Mark Cicchino were at the Players Championship in Florida. And because of the quarantine restrictions, they weren't allowed to come into the studio. And I was in Toronto. I didn't travel. And so I got to start hosting the show from there. And since then, I started as sort of a part-time host, and now I host the show week in, week out, every show, unless there's something else going on, where it's myself and Mark and Bob. And one of the really cool things about it is we have three different sort of demographics, three different age ranges. I'm 32, Mark's 49, and Bob's 64. So we have three different ways that we look at the game. So it's a great thing to be a part of, for sure.
Love that. And just what you mentioned there touches on what I started the show with, that whole piece of perfection that doesn't exist. There were just opportunities, and rather than waiting, or I can't do this, and you didn't have the experience, you just took a step, learned as you went. I heard this saying a little while ago: don't demand certainty, strive for clarity. So everything that you do, you're kind of moving forward on things, and here you are. There you go, every single week on the show. So hey, I want to ask you this question. So in terms of the show's growth, what have been some of the proudest moments or milestones that you guys have reached? And have you seen certain topics or guests that resonate with your audience more than others?
Ooh, now that's a very good question. In terms of, I'm trying to think back to some of the great moments we've had as a show. I mean, after Nick Taylor won the RBC Canadian Open, that was a great moment. And Mark was on the call for PGA Tour Radio, and it went viral instantly. Where you could tell he was losing his voice because he was screaming, but shouting, "The drought is over, the drought is over, the drought is over," when Nick sunk that 72-foot eagle putt to win the 2023 RBC Canadian Open was spectacular. That really stands out to me. Tiger winning the 2019 Masters, I was still just producing at the time on TV. I was on the air on radio. But to think back and just from a humanizing aspect, I mean, I've always been a huge Tiger fan and everything that he had been through. And obviously he's been through much more since winning the 2019 Masters. But just how emotional that entire moment was to see him with his son shortly after winning and screaming, that sort of thing was awesome. Now, in terms of guests, I mean, we have so many of the Canadians on our show on an annual basis that you try to, one of the goals I find personally with our show is to try to peel the layers back. Like, we know that Brooke Henderson is Canada's best golfer of all time, but what is Brooke like doing in the off season? What is Brooke like doing away from the golf course? So that's always my goal with these interviews, and how our show has evolved and changed. I mean, doing stuff like this on a Zoom or any sort of recording app, that was not a thing before COVID. So I find that interviewing people in a situation like this, they're a little more comfortable than sticking a microphone in their face, where they're at home, they're relaxing. So I find we're able to get a lot of great stuff from different people we interview. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head in terms of a great moment. Not one's coming to me, but there's so many great moments we've had with all these Canadians we've had in our show.
Yeah, I know there are so many every single week. So I'm sure you're paralyzed by the choice of all of that.
Yeah.
So you've had some firsts, I think, even this year, 2024, as far as traveling. I believe you attended the Masters for the first time, so you're really able to get out and travel. So now the show, even though it is Canadian based, you're getting out there and having some amazing experiences and going to some great places. So tell us about your first Masters experience.
Yeah, it's one of those where I'll never forget the entire experience. And it was, for me, a long time coming for sure. I mean, I was so thankful to get the opportunity. I was actually supposed to go April of 2020 when before COVID was a thing, flights were booked and everything. And then obviously that Masters didn't happen until November. And then the situation had changed a little bit. But to get the call, to get the offer that I was going to be there was amazing. I got to host a show from there, which is probably the top of my career accomplishment so far at Augusta National. But one thing that I everyone always says, Augusta National TV doesn't do it justice in terms of the undulations, how pretty it is. And all the time I'm thinking, yeah, okay, sure, maybe, awesome. I don't know. Like, some people exaggerate all the time for all different kinds of different things. But let me tell you, TV really doesn't do it justice when you're walking around there. So what I did, I was there from the Saturday before the tournament to the Tuesday, because I was actually back here in Toronto hosting our recap shows from our studio here. Right. So on the Monday morning, on the Sunday, I got to be there. I got to go to the merchandise center, which was something, I mean, I think the average spend there is like $800 or $900 American. And it's the greatest moving merchandise line. It goes 45 minutes waiting to get in, but I was never really standing still. Like, you sort of just kept moving and moving and moving, because people go and they want to, there's everything from quarter zips to dog bowls to whiskey glasses, all with Masters logos on it. So they have basically everything. But the most special part of that whole week was the Monday morning practice round. I walked the golf course and I wanted to do it alone, and I did it alone. And I took 3 hours to do it. So I really took my time. I really took it all in. I had my iPhone out after I got back, because you can't have your phone on the course, obviously. Yes. And I took notes on every hole, just how crazy it was, what really stood out to me here. And I mentioned the undulations, how hilly it is. I'd like to think I'm a fairly fit human being, but my shins were sore for 3 days after walking Augusta National with shin splits, because I was going up and down and up and down and back and forth. And I stood for a little bit of time at Amen Corner, looking down at 11 green. I can't believe how close the water hazard is to 11 green, and looking out at 12 and just thinking, this is golf paradise. This is where the magic happens. This is where so many unbelievable moments have happened. I took some time and sat in the grandstands on 16 and watch players skip it across. And that was just such a cool experience, how the grass, like, it looks fake. You pick it up, it's not fake, it's grass, but it just looks so thick. The bunkers, they're so white, the sand. It's it's a remarkable property, and I hope to cover many more Masters in my future.
I heard with that sand, doesn't Augusta National own like a quarry or something? Wherever they actually get that silica for that sand is from a specific place in North Carolina or something like that. So they actually own that very, very rare and specific sand. Because what you're talking about, I've heard that if you stare at it, you almost blind yourself. You need sunglasses on it, so it's so white.
Yeah, and it's really cool too when you're driving in the area, and as you're maybe 2 kilometers out, you can just sort of see how the color of the grass changes just in the neighborhood around Augusta National. And you look down Magnolia Lane and you're like, oh my God, like that is, I remember just getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it, how it's just such a cool, it's such a great property. And I mentioned briefly before about not having your phone out on the golf course. There's something special about that, because you watch any professional golf tournament now and someone's got their iPhone out, or everyone's got their iPhone out filming. I'm guessing the quality isn't going to be very good on that video you shoot. Anytime you take a picture of a golf course too, unless you're at the 7th hole at Pebble Beach, generally the view doesn't look quite as good on a photo. So there's something magical about walking around and seeing people just looking, interacting with people versus glued to their phones and on social media and ignoring everything that's in front of you, because it's such a cool feeling. Like me, I was wide-eyed walking around Augusta, and you see father-sons, you see parent-child, grandparents, that sort of thing, just enjoying this life-changing experience together. So that's something I'll never forget, for sure.
So cool. So cool. A bit of a downside, though. The hurricane that ripped through did so much damage there on Magnolia Lane. I saw the trees were down, even on the course. So I'm sure they're putting in a lot of effort to put things back in place, but you can't replace trees like that. So from what have you heard, is how the way the course is going to be set up for April for the 2025 Masters? What have you heard so far as how the course is going to play?
Yeah, from everything I've heard, I mean, the damage was relatively big on some holes, but the way that Augusta National operates, I wouldn't be surprised if there really aren't any changes when we see it in April. I mean, we remember a couple of years ago too, during the 3rd round, when a tree fell over in the 3rd round, the year that John Rahm won. And they had to halt play because the storms were crazy. They halted play at 3:30 in the afternoon on the Saturday, which is unheard of. But the next day, it was like nothing was there. Now, obviously, there's a lot more damage here, but there's a lot more time to repair and make sure it's all tickety-boo for April next year. So I honestly don't expect to see many changes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm assuming that, but they got a bit of a budget there too, so I'm sure they'll
just a little bit.
Okay. So I guess still on your bucket list, even though you stayed for a couple days after, but you had to get back to Toronto, so you've yet to have the opportunity to play Augusta National, though, have you?
Only on EA Sports.
Right.
I've done that a couple times, but no. But the cool thing about the Masters is they have a media lottery the day after the tournament ends, so on the Monday, where I don't know how many groups it is. I want to say it's over 5 to 6 maybe, where it's a lottery. So there's hundreds of media people there, and there's a lottery, and you get to play the golf course. You get to be there an hour before. I listened to many people talk about their experiences there, and many people at TSN have obviously played the golf course too. Have to wear pants, you get a caddy, same pin locations as it is on Sunday, so you get to go to all the historic pins and try to hit the shots that Tiger Woods chip in 05 or any of these historic shots that have gone down in Masters history. So yes, that is on the bucket list for sure. If I'm ever so lucky to do that, I'm pretty sure I could die happy the next day.
I bet. So is either Bob or Mark have the chance to play it?
Yeah, so Mark has not, unfortunately, but it took Bob 18 or 19 years, but then he got out and he played. So this would have been 2018, maybe 2017 or 18, one of those years. And Bob got out and played. I know James Duthie has played it. A number of the producers have played it as well. So Bob has played it. Mark and I still looking to play it, but hopefully, fingers crossed, someday that would be the coolest golf experience ever.
I'm sure it's going to happen for you. Just keep putting your name in that
Let's
lottery.
hope.
It's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. So, hey, talk about a couple other things here before I let you go. I want to talk about innovation, because I know on your show you've had some of my previous guests, entrepreneurs that are Canadian based here. So you do cover occasionally innovation and the tech side and the future of golf. So yeah, I want to ask you this: would you cover that on the show here? So, as you've seen, because you're right in the middle of it here, the golf industry has seen tremendous innovation over the last couple of years, from equipment advancements and technology integration into everything that we do. So are there any new golf products or innovations that you're particularly excited about that you've seen that, because some are gimmicky and other ones are, yeah, this is kind of changing the game. So kind of overarching here for you, Adam, what are your thoughts, or what do you see that interests you or excites you about golf innovation, whether it's the entertainment side, the teaching side, whatever? Just share your thoughts on that.
I mean, the equipment has taken such a huge leaps and bounds in the last couple of years specifically, and we were very fortunate. TaylorMade is one of our presenting sponsors, and we got to actually go to California a couple weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago now, and saw all of their 2025 products. So I can't tell you about the product specifically,
Right.
but what I can tell you is it continues to be game changing. The materials used, everything around it, that are going to, if it's helping Rory McIlroy play better, it's going to help you as a 17 handicap play better, that sort of thing. But ahead, or I guess before looking ahead to next year, I mean, looking back now, the innovations in the golf ball itself, the rollback is a whole other issue in itself, and we could go hours talking about the rollback and how stupid it is. But let's not take a deep dive into that, because these golf engineers are so smart to be able to think of new technologies and layerings and dimple patterns to improve and help everyone hit it straighter and farther. In terms of innovations, I mean, Dr. Sasho McKenzie came out with his methods for swing speeds, that sort of thing. And on our show, we always poke fun at me because I like to wear shirts that might be a little snug around the biceps when going on television. But fitness is always a huge priority for me. So I'm always looking at different ways to improve and get stronger, specifically for golf, because if we're watching golf on television and you see these players, a lot of them, I mean, some are quite built in the upper body, but it's a unique body shape, and golf fitness is something that is very unique and different. Strength in your legs, your hips, flexibility, that sort of thing that you don't need for, let's say, the NFL or the NHL or football or hockey, that sort of thing. So that there's so many cool parts about golf technology. I mean, TrackMan, Foresight, seeing all these numbers that when you get fit for new products, and you're seeing 28 different categories of spin rate and ball speed and club head speed and attack angle, which at the start of doing Golf Talk Canada, I didn't know what much of that meant, but now I've learned more and more. And there's so much you can learn about one shot that you probably didn't know about your swing earlier.
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity to cover all those things too. So
yeah,
my golf IQ is very high. It's just unfortunately I'm not able to execute that because of like I said, the more time I spend in the golf industry talking to awesome people like you, it seems like the less time I practice and I play. So that's got to change in 2025. That's definitely something that's on my to-do list, is to get that handicap back down to hopefully a single digit again. So, hey, I want to talk about, here, I'm going to pull up the website for the show here so we can talk about that rather than just kind of waving our hands in the air here. So let me do that. Hang on a second here. Not only am I the host, I'm also the executive producer like you are, but I'm
there you go.
twisting knobs and pulling levers at the same time here. So there we go. Got you boys up there. There's the crew.
Oh yeah, that was taken. That would have been. So that's at Glen Abbey. You can see the historic 18th green behind. That was early on in our tenure. Or in my tenure, I should say. So that's probably 2017, I'm going to guess that photo was taken. We actually had some, we can see the mustache I've got right now. Movember is our men's health partner, and we're all doing Movember this year. And we had some professionally done photos in the Mo House, as they call it. They have a little barber shop and we got through the straight razor shave and everything. And we were all posing together. So we have we're going to update our website here in the off season because back then my hairline looked a little better, and there's no gray whiskers in there. And now things have changed just a little bit.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I want to ask you this because, like I said, the last episode you did on Golf Talk Canada was your Ireland show.
Yeah.
And like I said, I learned a lot there. I'm inspired because I'm going to be in Belfast next May there for speaking at a conference and then going to play some golf afterwards. So since this is a Canadian show, and hey, we want to promote Canadian golf and the amazing courses that we have here. So I'm just going to pull up on screen here.
Oh, nice.
You guys got the top Canadian courses. So we're not going to talk about the private ones here because let's appeal. We got a lot of American viewers and listeners for ModGolf here and all around the world. So let's do a little bit of Canadian tourism golf promotion here. I want you to run through some of these courses on the right side of the list here, ones that you've actually played, or maybe you can do. Let's say, okay, why don't we do this? Let's say if someone's coming into Toronto and they want to set up with their buddies for a golf trip. So why don't you let us know the best public courses here on the list here that you would recommend people would put their golf trip around?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, our Bushnell top 50, top 25 on the private and top 25 on the public resort side, all across Canada. This was a really fun project to do. And if you're coming into Toronto, there's great courses in Toronto, a lot of great private courses in Toronto, obviously, but some great public resort as well. And if you're coming and playing some top public resort courses in the Toronto area, Eagle's Nest has to be at the top of your list. I played Eagle's Nest for the second time. The first time was probably 10 years ago. I played again, would have been in October at some point, and I was blown away by the experience there. Very linksy at times, such great variety on the golf course too. The greens were so challenging, and it's a little, it's in, I guess, Vaughan technically, or somewhere a little north, and you can actually see the CN Tower on one of the holes. This
really
majestic looking par 3 8th hole. Some pot bunkers. Honestly, that there were times where it felt like I was in Ireland. Like it was a lot of linksy shots, and that's a really, really special location. Eagle's Nest at number 7. Now, right after that is TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley. Of course, the North Course is hosting the 2025 RBC Canadian Open coming up next year. And that facility itself is special. 3 world-class 18-hole golf courses. Now stay and play options too, which wasn't a major thing before. Great restaurants, great food, cuisine. Practice facility is PGA Tour quality. They're going to host it next year, and that's a really cool spot to go and play TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley. Cobble Beach, if you have time to drive 2.5 hours, a little north of the city, Cobble Beach Resort. I believe it was number 13 on our public resort side. That's somewhere where I haven't been prior to this year, and got to go with our Golf Talk Canada team and 2 foursomes there, which was awesome. Black Bear Ridge is a place in Brighton, sort of Belleville area. I would say some of the best grouping of par 4s that I have had the chance to play in the country. I haven't played a lot of Golf West, which is next on my bucket list at some point, Western Canada, but Black Bear Ridge and Brighton, some really, really cool par 4s on that property. It's very well manicured as well. So if I was planning a golf trip for one of your listeners or someone from your audience, I would say those would be a great place to start in the Toronto area.
Nice. Well, as you know, here, Adam, I am in Vancouver, so I be more than happy to play some golf with you. If you can tolerate my 17 handicap, you have to give me a couple strokes, buddy, but we can definitely play. And some of these courses I've had the chance of playing. Haven't played Banff yet. Now that that's right next door, it's closer to Calgary, of course.
Right.
But going up the list here, I have played Sagebrush. I have played Predator many times. That's in Kelowna up there in wine country in the Okanagan, which is really nice. Have played Whistler. They're going to be shutting down, and they're going to be redoing their course. It sounds like they're really going to be upgrading that.
Oh.
Yeah, I just got the I'm on their newsletter list, so it's got that. Bear Mountain, Jack Nicklaus design course there, just close to Victoria on the island. 36 holes, but the valley course there is really great. And even private-wise here, I've had the opportunity many years ago to play Victoria, and that kind of has a bit of a Pebble Beach vibe for it, at least for 6 or 7 of the holes that are running across the ocean here. So yeah, once you get out here, I'll definitely show you around a little bit. We'll play some golf.
That sounds like a good time. And you mentioned your 17 handicap. I mean, one of the great things about golf, and I'm sure you feel the same way, is that any skill level of any player, we can play together. It could be you and me and Scotty Scheffler, and it doesn't really matter. It's not like you and I could go step on the ice in an NHL game or on the field in an NFL game. We would get absolutely killed. But golf is a different sport in that respect, where you can play with any skill level. It doesn't matter. Just go out and play the tee that you want to play, the game you want to play, and you can have all the fun in the world.
I 100% agree. And I'm not a member of a private club here. My wife doesn't play, and we don't really have the lifestyle to play at one of these clubs or join, or even the money, to be honest. So I was looking around a couple of years ago, just before COVID, where my golf buddies, they're even worse than I am. I'm the one that organizes everything, and I was tired of it. It's like, you know what? My golf friends suck. I got to find better golf buddies. So I looked around just online, did a search here in Vancouver where there were some kind of meetup groups or some clubs. And this one where I play now for the last 4 years at the University Golf Club, which is a great track and have to get you out there. It's over 100 years old.
Oh.
And they had this weekend men's group that's been around for over 40 years. And I managed to get on the wait list before COVID, got in right away. Of course, the COVID hit, didn't play until May, played a lot of golf. So 150 guys in this group. And I was super intimidated because I didn't even have a handicap at that time. And they've got the club championship and they've got all the other things going on. But I learned very quickly that these guys, as long as I'm fun to play with, I know the etiquette and pace of play. So they don't care if I shoot 72 or 102. Like if we're playing against each other, it's a different situation. But even then, we play a lot of these events that are net. So I'm playing our winter match play we call the Futter Mutter, which I made the final last year out of 60 guys. I'm sorry, 2 years ago. Didn't make it on the group stage last year. But I got to play a guy next weekend, and the guy's got to give me 12 strokes. So it's awesome, right? So it's competitive.
Absolutely.
Right? So
it's good really for fun. You, man.
Okay,
That's
hey,
awesome.
To finish up here, kind of last question I want to ask you here, Adam, and that is kind of about the future of where you guys are going in 2025. So kind of your thoughts on kind of the future of golf, maybe one thing that really excites you, whether it's kind of indoor golf, screen golf, the entertainment side, whatever you're thinking there. And I want to hear about the kind of the evolution of Golf Talk Canada, what you guys have in store. There's something you got to tease us with without doing the big reveal as far as 2025.
Yeah, totally. So from golf as a whole, we're all on pins and needles waiting for some sort of merger to go down with PGA Tour and LIV Golf. Everyone just wants to see the best players in the world play together more often. That's number one. So hopefully we get that. Me personally, I think 2025 is going to be a big year for Rory McIlroy. I think some of the swing changes that he was just implementing, locking himself in a simulator, not actually looking at ball flights for 3 weeks, I think that's totally changed his swing in a great way. So I'm looking forward to seeing Rory and having a big year in 2025. As for us on Golf Talk Canada, we're looking to do some more things on the golf course in 2025. More matches, more film matches. Some of these, YouTube golf is just on the absolute uprise, guys like a Mac Boucher, Sarah Winter, Grant Horvat, all these influencers, Bryson, everything he's doing on YouTube too with his Break 50 series. So we're looking to do more stuff like that, long drive contest close to the pin, and then give you all the latest and the greatest in the world of golf on a weekly basis.
Nice. Well, we've had a few people join us here. I know we have even more afterwards when we have this on our YouTube channel with ModGolf. But hey, I do want to, just before we go here, got a guy I've known, Steve, for many years now. He's doing great things in the golf space. He's actually got a company called Power 2 Golf. I won't pull it up on screen here right now, but Steve, I'm going to have you on ModGolf Live to talk about your product. I've seen you at the PGA show for a couple of years. And Adam, I think you find this interesting. Is golf, people do age out. They do get injured, and and it's such a social thing, that lubricant for their buddies to play, and then getting away from that mental health piece we talk about through November, that supporting not only for men's cancer, but also for anxiety, depression, and sadly suicide. That golf has that great ability to create community around that. And one thing that Steve's doing with Power to Golf, so he's actually got a golf club, but you can play any club. So the best way to describe it is it's actually got it's powered. So you actually put the ball out, and it's got a little kind of piece that fires off and hits the golf ball, and you can change it to different degrees or lengths. So you don't have to swing the club anymore. And it sounds gimmicky, but what he's doing with the Veterans Association and others that have kind of either aged out of golf or because of arthritis or whatever they can't play, it's bringing them back to the game. And it's really, really great. So, hey, just wanted to give Steve a little shout out there with all the things he's doing with Power to Golf. That's a good reminder. Thank you, Steve, for putting that out there, because I will reach out to you to make sure you're on a ModGolf Live coming up in the next couple of weeks, because we do it live every single Monday from noon Eastern and 9 a.m. here in Vancouver on the West Coast here. So yeah, thanks, Steve, for that. And yeah, just to finish up here, Adam, like all the good things you're talking about there with Movember and you rocking the mustache here. One of the groups that we support through men's mental health here is called Heads Up Guy. Heads Up Guys is a nonprofit out of Vancouver here. We've done some charity supported golf tournaments with them. So yeah, anyone out there, really meant for men of all ages here. If yourself or someone you know what, are struggling, you know what, it's okay not to be okay. And they've got great resources as a platform that you can check out with headsupguys.org. So I do strongly encourage you to have a look there. I've used the platform too, because you know what? Life's hard sometimes. You know, we all have a great time. We're surrounded by great people. But you know what? We all struggle, and men especially, kind of growing up, kind of that stiff upper lip, kind of keep it all inside. It's like, you know what? It's okay not to be okay. And there's support out there, and it's part of the community. I know, Adam, for the work that you do and the guys do, you guys support that, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very important cause, and golf and mental health really tie in together. I mean, you think about the time where you can unplug and spend 4 or 5 hours, depending on the pace of play, with the people that you're with and enjoying yourselves and not worrying about what's going on in the world. And golf's a great thing, a great exercise that people can do to improve their mental health.
There we go. Well, hopefully if I get in Toronto, because I grew up there. Actually, I grew up in beautiful Brampton. I actually went to school there, studied architecture in Toronto. So been out here half my life now, but I am definitely a Toronto guy, born and bred. So I'm back quite a bit. So either we'll have to play around there, or like I said, if you eventually make it 3 time zones out here, I'll definitely show you around. We'll go up to Whistler. There's some great courses up and down the corridor there. The fact you haven't played there, that's inexcusable, man. It's not right. It's not right. So we'll have to get you out here. I'll make some good things happen. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Adam Scully, again, host and producer of Golf Talk Canada. Long time coming for this, but worth the wait. Thank you, sir, for joining me today on ModGolf Live. It's been awesome.
Thank you for having me. All the best here going forward, and let's stay in touch.
Sounds great. All right. You have a great day, Adam. You take care. Bye for now.